Ash vs. Evil Dead Episode 3, Books from Beyond. Now, this episode was pretty cool because we actually got to see every main character in this episode, and each person actually had some, sort of significant role in this one compared to, the first episode. Like, when Ruby was in that episode, Ruby's Lucy Lawless's character, she just had, a very weird, vague scene where it's, obviously, she knows what's going on. No info about her. She wasn't even in the second episode. And in this one, she's still technically only in the first scene, but she at least has, a lot of dialogue. She knows about the Deadites and stuff, and she knows that Ash is there, or, was there at least. And we also see her talk to the Deadite, and she has, this crazy blade that the Deadites know about, because the Deadite was freaking out, don't use that on me. And she uses this blade, and it basically starts melting the flesh of the Deadite. And I was like, that's actually really cool. I don't know what weapon that is, but I was like, this makes her even cooler of a character, because not only does she know about the book and, kind of what's going on, but she was super calm when that happened. She's, she had her hand over the cross and everything, over, the little makeshift grave, and it seemed like she was kind of sensing something, like she has abilities or something like that, because she wasn't touching anything, and she was kind of just lightly kind of running her hand over, and that's what I thought she was doing. And then the father, grabs her, and then she pulls the father up, and, he's, arguing with her and stuff, and she, slams him down on the, on the cross, which was actually a pretty awesome scene, because she just, picked him up, super strength style, and just slammed him down on it. And then she pulls out this knife with, the little shrunken head on the bottom, and she just goes, full circle. I thought they were honestly going to keep it going. I thought she was going to, just cut his whole face off and, rip his face off, honestly. But she starts cutting him, and I think it was, she started here, so by the time she got, to the other side of the forehead, this side of his face started to, melt and stuff. So she has weapons to defend herself with, and I just thought that was very interesting. So she's got weapons, she knows about the book, she's getting a little bit closer, and I think she figured something out, so she's going to end up at Books from Beyond in the next episode. But for now, she's still super ambiguous. The only reason I know her name is because I looked it up just so I wasn't saying, oh, and Lucy Lawless did this and that. So they still don't even have her name said in the show just yet. We might get that in the next episode when she ends up saving Fisher, who also had a pretty important role because, of course, she went to Books from Beyond. She's doing, her investigation, and she runs into Ash, which unfortunately results in kind of nothing happening for her character in this episode. It was she thought she was about to get her answers, and then it's nope, she gets taken down, she gets arrested, or not arrested, but she gets handcuffed. And then when she escapes from all of that and she tries to handcuff Ash, it's oh, sorry, fake hand. And then she gets handcuffed again, and they just leave her there. And now she's stuck with Sam's buddy, who got killed by what is right now the coolest villain that they've had, or the coolest demon that they've had on the show so far, which is the one that I've been waiting to see. I hope we get to see it more, honestly, because I love the way they did that one. I liked it in the trailer initially because I was that one just looks super creepy. And this was definitely a creepy episode when they, finally summoned it. And the way they did this was so cool because it was the entire body was shifting except for the mouth. I love the way they kind of did that with the editing. And I was that looks really cool. The special effects on it were just really sweet. And then when we got the full picture of it, it really was only a top half, and then it would kind of fade out when it got down to the legs. But it was really cool, and it was an oddly deadly creature because it would basically absorb the information from people's brains, because it was the informant basically of the demon realm. And as Ash put it, it wasn't it didn't look anything like the picture. It wasn't as nice and simple, because it looked like it was a baby just floating around. And then, of course, it comes out as, this crazy, grotesque thing, which can, fling people all over the place, and, if it touches you, it'll basically, pop blood vessels and, absorb the information from your brain and kill you that way. But I love the effects on it. I love the effects on its attack. Every time it touched Ash, it would be, kind of in cartoons when they show, lightning, and you see the skeleton and everything. But it looked, obviously much cooler than in cartoons. And I was like, that looks pretty cool. And I really thought it was a great special effect. The monster was obviously deadly. Like, of course, as soon as that little circle was broken, it was just like chaos. Like, Ash gets flung away, glass is being broken, the guy gets killed because, of course, the demon brings up all the glass because this guy's the only one about to, cast it back into the demon world. So, like, nope, get rid of him, kill that guy off, so I'm here permanently. But I thought it was cool that Kelly figured it out at the end, because it was like there were seemingly no solutions right now, and Kelly just grabs the book and hits it, and it basically reverses the spell automatically. So I thought that was kind of cool. If somehow, if Ruby does end up getting the book, and I know she's like super mysterious, but I feel like she's not a villain. Like, that's like zero evidence to really prove that or anything, but considering what she did to the Deadite, where she's like torturing it and stuff, I don't think she's a villain. She easily could be, and it could be the fact that she'll kill random Deadites, but if she got the book, maybe there's a spell that she knows where she'd be in control of them, and then it'd be like, oh, she is a bad guy. But for now, she's like just looking for Ash because he kind of screwed things up, so she's just looking for him and trying to get the book back. And maybe, like I said, I mean, she had this random knife, so obviously she's deeply, involved in the Deadite stuff. So maybe she's just trying to, get rid of all this stuff too. And, and I think I mentioned this before, maybe their conflict is going to come from Ash thinking, I'm the one who's going to solve the problem. And then Ruby being like, well, you don't even know how to. And then that's how they end up arguing, even though they're both technically on the same side. But I'm looking forward to getting more answers out of her for sure. And this demon, I would love for that one to come back because I just love the design for it. Actually getting to see it in the episode, like I said, was even cooler because of the weird CG effects they did where it was constantly shifting and like the mouth would stay still. It was really weird to see that, but at the same time it was like pretty amazing because I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. So I was like, that's actually kind of awesome. And they have it shifting, but the mouth stays still and stuff. I was like, that looks really, really cool to me. Typically gory episode. Starting from the very beginning when Ruby's like cutting the face of the Deadite, and then it starts melting and everything like that. So the gore continues on. The comedy. And also, this was the first episode that wasn't written by Sam Raimi. The very first episode was written and directed by him. The second episode was just written by him and directed by someone else. And then this episode is the first episode where Sam was not involved whatsoever. His influence is officially gone. Well, I shouldn't say influence is gone, but his actual direct contributions to the show are officially gone until maybe a finale or something like that. And because I read an article, he mentioned he might come back to do like a series finale or something like that. But now it's completely to the producers and writers and everyone else. And I think the episode, honestly, I barely noticed any. I didn't notice any difference, to be totally honest. It was still just as funny. I loved Ash saying he was like, I'm in a lone wolf. I've never heard that joke before, and I thought that was so funny. And Kelly's like, a lone wolf? He's like, exactly. And I was like, it was just so funny to me. I just loved that part. So the comedy was still there. Of course, the action and the gore and, the mess-ups and Ash just making a terrible decision to bring in a demon. And Pablo's like, maybe I should bring Kelly in on this, and so we get like a team vote, and then of course Ash manipulates him with the I believe it was Ghost Beaters. It was either Ghost Beaters or Ghost Herders. Either way, not great. It's really, really bad. But he manipulates him. It's like, come on, are you that or not? And so of course Pablo kind of agrees, and then things get really gross. The summoning and stuff, and it brings all like the little animals to life, and like they're falling off, and I think it was like a deer fetus or something was in that jar, and so it starts moving and stuff like that, and that was kind of gross. But I was like, also at the same time, very cool how they're doing it. So really enjoyed just the summoning in general because it was just cool. Plus we got sort of the camera deal again. I believe we did, but it was on a sort of different scale. It wasn't like it went all the way into the building. I think it started like in some random field, and then they show like the clouds, and then it was inside the room and everything just getting all weird and crazy. But definitely cool summon. Love the creature. I honestly would love to see it come back, although I'm sure it won't. But I just love the design for that. Like, that was the one I really wanted to see to begin with, because when I saw it in the trailer, I was like, that looks amazing. Like, I want to see what happens with that. And it was a big deal. It was the main, you know, enemy of this episode. But I'd love to see it come back. And honestly, I would want it to be like an important villain that kind of doesn't get defeated, because I just love the design. I don't know why. I just really think it could cause a lot more chaos than it did. But it was an informant, and then it was defeated, so I'm sure it's not going to make a return. But I still loved it. Looking forward to whatever the next random villain is going to end up being. I like the preview for the next episode. Ruby came in. I'm pretty sure she had a shotgun, and she stabbed the guy who was killed, who owned the store. I think she stabbed him with the shotgun, and I'm assuming she's gonna like blow him away while the shotgun's like in his stomach. So I don't think the gore is gonna be dropping off in the next episode at all, which I totally don't mind. I'm looking forward to more of it. But I really enjoyed this episode. They are officially a team by the end of this. Like, Ash was kind of, going through the motions a little bit, where it's like, I'm a lone wolf in the beginning, and then he realized, like, I would have been dead if it weren't for you two. So, we are officially a team. Like, we are a team together. We're gonna head out and we're gonna solve this, together. We're gonna figure out what the heck we're gonna do, and as a trio, we'll be the ones to solve this problem and basically save the world. So it was cool to see that happen, where he realizes at least that he does need the help. He's not exactly just doing things on his own inside of a cabin anymore, like he was in the movie. So it was cool to see him officially accept the team that they've obviously formed. So I'm looking forward to the next episode. Still wish the shows were an hour long. That's the worst thing, is like, it just drives me nuts, to be totally honest. It's like, this show just so deserves to be an hour long, and I hope that we get a season 2 and then it just expands, like the budget goes up for them or something. But this show just needs to be an hour. Like, it drives me crazy when it ends and it's only like 30 minutes. I'm like, oh, this was just amazing, but it was just so short. It just feels so weird that it's only 30 minutes, but always 30 amazing minutes. I'm really looking forward to the next one, like I said. But of course, I want to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And because this was the first non-Deadite monster, not counting like all the weird variations on creatures from Army of Darkness, I want to know what you guys thought of it, because not only was it not technically a Deadite, it was a full-on demon, and it was actually summoned from the book. It wasn't just like, oh, they read a passage and now the sort of the evil that turns people into Deadites is released. This was like a full-on demon was brought to Earth, and it was something that we hadn't really seen before from the Evil Dead franchise. So, obviously not counting like some certain like spin-off type of things like video games. They've had a lot of crazy stuff going on in there. There's like, I don't remember the name of it, but there's a whole game that's basically an alternate timeline where instead of Ash being sent back in time, he basically just solves the problem and it stays in modern day, and the Deadites like take over current Earth instead of the past, and then he has like a weird like mini version of himself as like a teammate. It's really weird. I've never played it, but that just popped into my head. So you can look that up. Full on alternate timeline. Instead of back in time Army of Darkness, it's modern day, and just a bunch of crazy Deadite stuff in well, not current Earth, but 1980s Earth. So definitely a lot of stuff that went on. But this is, as far as like actual canon, one of the first time really we've seen like just a flat out demon. It's not just like, oh, it's Deadites from the book or this or that. It's just like, this is just a flat out demon from hell summoned from the book. So I want to know what you guys thought about that, and so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.